Welcome to the invisible crime scene. There are no bruises, no broken bones, and often, no witnesses. The crime scene is your memory, and the weapon is a twisted version of reality forced upon you in the most vulnerable room of your house, the bedroom. You are watching this because you have walked out of that room feeling disoriented, dirty, and confused. You have had conversations where up became down, where no was interpreted as convince me, and where your discomfort was labeled as dysfunction. You are the victim of sexual gaslighting, a form of psychological torture so subtle yet so devastating that it makes you question your own sanity before you question their cruelty. You know the script. It plays out in the dark. You say, "I'm not comfortable with that." They reply, "You used to like it. You've changed." You pause. You search your memory. Did you like it? Did you change? Suddenly, the issue isn't their boundary-crossing request. The issue is your memory, your flexibility, your love. They have successfully shifted the spotlight from their aggression to your perceived inadequacy. They rewrite the history of your own body in real time, convincing you that your boundaries are actually barriers to intimacy. They make you feel like the villain for simply having a limit. The haunting question that keeps you up at night is not "do they love me?" but "am I crazy?" They tell you that you are a prude, that you are frigid, or that you are boring. They compare you to past lovers who were supposedly up for anything. They plant these seeds of doubt deep in your psyche until they bloom into a garden of self-hatred. You start to perform acts you hate just to prove you aren't broken. You surrender your autonomy to silence their criticism. But the criticism never stops, does it? Because the gaslighting isn't about sex, it's about control. Sexual gaslighting is the ultimate invasion because it attacks your primal instinct. Your body says unsafe, but their words say you're overreacting. This disconnect creates a war within your own nervous system. You lie there, your body rigid, your stomach in knots, while they tell you to relax and stop ruining the mood. They deny your physical reality. They tell you that your pain is imaginary, or that your hesitation is a sign of your issues, not their pressure. They are colonizing your perception of pleasure. Think about the times they denied an event ever happened. "I never pressured you. You wanted it." The audacity of the lie takes your breath away. You remember the coercion. You remember the fear. But they look you in the eye with such absolute conviction that you start to waver. Maybe I did give off mixed signals? Maybe I am remembering it wrong? This is the danger zone. When you start trusting their version of events over your own lived experience, you have lost the keys to your own mind. You are now a passenger in their delusion. They weaponize normalcy. They will tell you that everyone does this, or this is what healthy couples do. They use societal norms, or twisted versions of them, to shame you into compliance. If you don't agree to their demands, you are labeled abnormal. They might show you articles, porn, or talk about friends to prove their point. They are building a case against your intuition. They are trying to normalize their perversion or aggression by painting your resistance as pathology. The joking defense is another hallmark. They make a degrading comment about your body or your performance. You get upset. They instantly flip the script. "God, you can't take a joke. You're so sensitive." Now, you aren't the victim of an insult. You are the perpetrator of a buzzkill. They force you to apologize for being hurt. They train you to swallow their abuse with a smile, terrified of being labeled too sensitive again. It is a trap designed to silence you. Have you noticed how the goalposts always move? One day, they complain you aren't initiating enough. So, you start initiating. Then, they reject you and say you are too aggressive or desperate. They gaslight you about your own libido. They keep you in a state of constant destabilization so you never know where you stand. A confused partner is a controllable partner. If you are always trying to figure out the rules of the game, you never realize that the game is rigged against you. This manipulation often involves projective identification. They are the ones with the shame, the dysfunction, or the dark compulsions. But they project these traits onto you. If they have performance anxiety, they blame your lack of attraction. If they are cheating, they accuse you of being distant. They treat you like a screen onto which they project their own internal movie. You are punished for their sins. You are carrying the weight of their hidden shadows. We are about to tear down the curtain. We are going to expose the mechanics of how they twist the truth behind closed doors. You are not frigid. You are not crazy. You are not broken. You are reacting normally to an abnormal situation. You are a healthy organism trying to reject a parasite. Let's dissect the anatomy of the lie so you can finally see the truth. At its core, sexual gaslighting is an assault on reality testing. The narcissist needs to be the architect of reality to maintain their grandiose self-image. In the bedroom, where vulnerability is highest, they cannot risk being seen as anything less than a god. If the sex is bad, it must be your fault. If they can't perform, it must be your body. They cannot tolerate the shame of imperfection, so they export that shame to you. They rewrite the script in real time to ensure they remain the hero or the victim, never the perpetrator. We must examine the tactic of the amnesia. Narcissists genuinely seem to forget their abusive behavior moments after it happens. This is often a form of dissociation, but for you, it is maddening. You try to discuss a hurtful comment they made during intimacy, and they look at you blankly. I never said that. Their denial is so absolute that it destabilizes your grounding. You start keeping a record in your head, obsessively replaying events to ensure you aren't hallucinating. This obsession distracts you from the fact that they are simply lying. Coercive control is disguised as liberation. They frame their demands for boundary-breaking acts as sex positivity or exploration. If you refuse, they gaslight you into believing you are repressed or unevolved. Don't you want to grow? Don't you want to experience everything? They hijack the language of empowerment to strip you of your power. True liberation includes the right to say no. Their version of liberation is simply your submission to their will. The moving goalpost technique relies on intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes, they validate your reality. Sometimes, they admit they were wrong. This random validation keeps you hooked. You think, see, they can be reasonable. But this is part of the gaslight. By giving you a glimpse of sanity, they make the insanity harder to spot. They keep you working for the truth, forcing you to explain, justify, and argue for your reality, which exhausts you into submission. Triangulation with fantasy is a brutal form of gaslighting. They compare you to porn stars or fantasy figures, claiming that those are real women or real men. They gaslight you about human biology. They shame you for having a normal body that doesn't look like a filtered image. They try to convince you that the artificial is the standard, and your reality is the failure. They are trying to replace the human being in their bed with a digital delusion. Consider the weaponized incompetence. They act like they don't know how to please you, or they forget your preferences repeatedly. When you get frustrated, they gaslight you, you're so demanding. I can never get it right. They turn their lack of effort into your lack of gratitude. They make you feel guilty for having needs. They want you to stop asking, stop wanting, and simply accept whatever scraps they throw at you. The Darvo technique, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, is their shield. If you confront them about hurting you during sex, they deny it happened, attack you for being crazy, and then claim they are the victim of your false accusations. Suddenly, you are apologizing to them for hurting their feelings by bringing up your own pain. It is a masterful reversal that leaves you spinning, wondering how you became the bad guy. They use pathological envy to destroy your confidence. If you are naturally sensual or confident, they hate it. They will gaslight you into thinking you are trashy or trying too hard. They want to dim your light. They tell you that your confidence is actually arrogance. They want you insecure because an insecure partner is grateful for attention. A confident partner demands respect. They are managing down your expectations. False concern is the wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm just worried about you. You seem so inhibited lately. Do you need to see a therapist? They frame their criticism as concern for your mental health. They suggest you are the one with the hang-ups. This is incredibly effective because it triggers your desire to be healthy. You go to therapy to fix a problem that doesn't exist, while the real problem waits for you at home. Ultimately, the psychological goal is erosion of self. They want to erase your boundaries until you are a seamless extension of their ego. If you have a separate reality, a separate no, or a separate desire, it threatens their control. Sexual gaslighting is the tool they use to sand down your edges until you fit perfectly into the hole in their soul. The turning point arrives when your body stops cooperating with the lie. Your mind might still be trying to rationalize their behavior, they're stressed, they didn't mean it, but your body goes on strike. You develop vaginismus, erectile dysfunction, or panic attacks at the thought of intimacy. You start to feel nausea when they touch you. This somatic rebellion is the dramatic twist. The gaslighting can trick your brain, but it cannot trick your nervous system. Your body knows it is sleeping with the enemy. You try to bring this up. You say, I feel anxious when we have sex. And here is the pivot. Instead of comfort, you get rage. They accuse you of withholding intimacy to punish them. They say, you're weaponizing sex. This accusation is a projection, of course, but it hits deep. You feel guilty. You force yourself to perform through the anxiety, which only deepens the trauma. You are now gaslighting yourself to keep the peace. The narcissist senses your withdrawal and escalates the reality distortion field. They might stage a situation where they act incredibly hurt, crying crocodile tears about how unloved they feel. They twist the narrative so that your boundary is an act of aggression against their heart. You find yourself comforting the abuser while you are the one bleeding. This moment of extreme cognitive dissonance, comforting the person who hurt you, is the breaking point for many survivors. You might start recording reality. You begin keeping a journal, or secretly recording conversations, just to prove to yourself that you aren't insane. You play back the tape and hear the cruelty, the twisting of words. You see the evidence in black and white. I said no, and they said I said yes. The realization hits you like a physical blow. You aren't misunderstood, you are being hunted. The turning point deepens when you realize the gaslighting has spread to your identity. You look in the mirror and don't recognize the sexual being you used to be. You see a frightened child. You realize that you have lost your erotic voice. You don't know what you like anymore because you've spent so long pretending to like what they like. You have been colonized. They might introduce a phantom third party. They tell you, my coworker thinks I'm attractive. They wouldn't treat me like this. They gaslight you into believing you are replaceable, that you are lucky they stay with someone so damaged. This fear of abandonment forces you to submit to their reality one last time. You try harder. You give more. But it feels like selling your soul. The silence becomes deafening. You stop talking during sex. You stop expressing needs. You go numb. The narcissist might interpret this compliance as a victory, but it is actually the death of the relationship. You have checked out. You are physically present but spiritually absent. You are watching the scene from the ceiling, disassociated, waiting for it to be over. You start to see the smear campaign forming. They make jokes in public about your sex life. Oh, the old ball and chain holds out on me. They laugh, and friends laugh, but you freeze. They are recruiting others into the gaslight. They are publicly painting you as the problem to inoculate themselves against the truth. If you ever speak up, people will say, but she always said you were the one with the issues. The confusion turns into clarity. You read an article, watch a video, like this one, or hear a phrase, sexual coercion. Gaslighting. The words resonate with a frequency that shatters the glass. You realize there is a name for what is happening to you. It isn't a bad patch. It isn't a communication issue. It is abuse. The diagnosis is the turning point. You stop arguing. You stop trying to convince them of your reality. You realize that arguing with a narcissist about reality is like arguing with a drunk person about gravity. It is futile. You retreat into a secret garden of your own truth. You hold on to it tightly. They can lie to you, but you stop lying to yourself. The consequences of long-term sexual gaslighting are catastrophic. The victim often develops complex PTSD. The bedroom becomes a trigger zone. The smell of their cologne, the sound of the door locking, the time of night, all become cues for panic. You live in a state of hypervigilance, constantly scanning for the next attempt to twist reality. Your cortisol levels are permanently spiked, leading to exhaustion and illness. Sexual anorexia often follows. You shut down the factory. You decide that if sex is a weapon used against you, you will remove the target. You become asexual as a defense mechanism. You mourn the loss of your sexuality, a vibrant part of your humanity that has been cauterized. You feel broken, dry, and hollow. The narcissist uses this as further proof of your defectiveness, but deep down, it is your survival instinct at work. The relationship devolves into a grotesque pantomime. You are two actors on a stage, reading different scripts. They are playing the long-suffering partner of a crazy person, and you are playing the confused patient. The intimacy is gone, replaced by a power struggle. Every touch is a negotiation. Every glance is a threat. The body dysmorphia induced by their comparisons becomes severe. You obsess over parts of your body they criticized. You might consider surgery, crash diets, or extreme changes to fit their ever-shifting ideal. You are trying to mold your physical form to fit their delusion. You are carving pieces of yourself away to fit into their box, bleeding out in the process. The narcissist eventually faces their own collapse. Because they have gaslit you into a shell, you can no longer provide the high-quality supply they crave. A broken mirror doesn't reflect well. They become bored with their creation. They start looking for a new, shiny object to manipulate. Their victory over you results in their own dissatisfaction. They destroyed the very thing they wanted to consume. You might experience social isolation. You feel too ashamed to tell friends what is happening. How do you explain that your partner tells you that you remember things wrong? It sounds petty. It sounds crazy. So you stay silent. You drift away from your support network, leaving you alone in the echo chamber of their lies. The trust wound bleeds into everything. You stop trusting your judgment in other areas. If I can't even remember if I said yes or no, how can I trust myself to drive? To work? To parent? The gaslighting destabilizes your entire cognitive foundation. You become dependent on them for reality checks, which is the ultimate goal of the abuser. The narcissist escalates to punishment. When gaslighting stops working, when you stop believing them, they switch to rage. They punish you for seeing the truth. They withhold finances, affection, or help. They start a war because their magic spell has broken. The mask falls off completely, revealing the tyrant beneath. The ghosting of the soul. You look at old photos of yourself and don't recognize the person smiling back. That person had light in their eyes. The person in the mirror now has dead eyes. You are surviving, but you aren't living. You are a vessel for someone else's pathology. But the collapse of the illusion is necessary. You have to hit rock bottom, the total realization that the relationship is a lie, to push off the floor. The pain of the consequences becomes greater than the fear of leaving. The collapse is the precursor to the escape. So, what is the final truth you must excavate from the rubble of your reality? It is this: your memory is reliable. Your feelings are valid. Your no was heard, and it was ignored. The confusion you felt was not a sign of your madness, it was a sign of your resistance. You were fighting a psychological war in your underwear, unarmed, against a master manipulator. The fact that you are still standing, still questioning, is proof of your immense strength. You must reclaim the narrative of your body. The narcissist tried to write their name on your soul, but they used invisible ink. It can be washed away. You need to reconnect with your intuition, that quiet voice they tried to scream over. That voice has been waiting for you. It never lied to you. It was the one saying run when they said stay. Listen to it now. Understand that their gaslighting was a confession. Every time they accused you of being crazy, they were confessing their fear of your sanity. Every time they called you frigid, they were confessing their inability to warm you. They lied to you because the truth, that they are empty, abusive, and inadequate, would destroy them. They needed your reality to die so theirs could live. Healing begins with radical validation. You must become the witness you never had. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, I believe you. Validate your own pain. Validate your own memories. Write them down in ink. Make them permanent. Do not let the thief enter your mind again to steal your history. You are not damaged goods. You are a survivor of psychological warfare. The sexual trauma is real, and it deserves care, not shame. It deserves gentle handling. You reclaim your sexuality by taking it back from them. It belongs to you. It is for your pleasure, your connection, your joy. Not their regulation. Walk away from the house of mirrors. Leave the distortion behind. Step into the sunlight of objective reality. In the real world, no means no. In the real world, feelings are respected. In the real world, love does not require you to lose your mind. The narcissist will continue to lie. They will lie about you to others. They will lie to their next victim. Let them. Their lies are the bars of their own prison. They are trapped in a delusion they have to maintain every second of every day. You are free to live in the truth. And the truth is light. The truth is air. Stand tall in your own skin. You own every inch of it. No one has the right to tell you what you feel inside your own chest. Your reality is sovereign territory. Defend it like a fortress. You survived the mind games. You survived the manipulation. You survived the erasing of yourself. Now, pick up the pen and write your own ending. Write a story where you are the hero, where you are whole, and where you are never, ever silenced again. The gaslight is out. The room is dark only because you left. But look ahead, the door is open, and the world outside is waiting for the real you to emerge. Walk through it.